Well, here we go. I'm back from my Facebook ban, and just as a point of note, if you don't want to get a Facebook ban, don't mention rape and Islam and Muhammad in the same sentence. For some reason, that triggers people at Facebook, and they think it's a good idea to ban you for 24 hours. What do I want to talk about today? I really want to talk about refocusing our efforts. I've been thinking about this over the weekend, and I think really what's happened in a lot of the movements, we've kind of lost what we started for and lost what we started about. When I got involved in the movement way back in, I think it was June last year after the terrorist attacks, my main concern back then was the Islamisation of the UK, Islamic terrorism, radicalism, people basically taking the law into their own hands in the name of religion, and also religious freedom. Those things have been a bit forgotten about, and I think we've got really lost in the fog of war. And what we need to do is think about what we're about. And when we started this because there have been terrorist attacks. There haven't been terrorist attacks for a long time, but the problem hasn't gone away. And the problem is a very, very literalist interpretation of the Quran. That's what we're looking at. That's what we started these movements to basically fight against. And if we lose sight of that, I think we can very, very easily lose the battle. Now, we've got a strategy, and I think the strategy we've got is a good one. It was worked on initially by the veterans. The DFLA have come on board with that as well. And the strategy is very simply to politicise this movement. And the way we want to politicise it is by teaming up with UKIP, because at the same time as we were starting doing what we were doing, the leadership of UKIP were watching us and said, listen, these guys have got passion, these guys have got fire in their belly, they believe the same things that we believe, let's team up. And we've done that, and we've done that very, very successfully. But what we've got to do, we've got to really get the passion back into this project of supporting UKIP, because UKIP politically is the only show in town. If Brexit is backtracked on, if the government backslide on Brexit, which I believe they will, and many other people believe they will, we will not be able to get a grip of the situation that we're facing. We're going to be stuck in this quagmire. We're going to go round and round in circles. We're going to continue with mass immigration. We're going to continue with terrorist problems. The Islamisation of the UK will continue, and that is a huge problem. At the minute, I believe that the Islamic population of the UK is between 3 and 5%, depending on what figures you believe. If immigration carries on at current levels and the demographics carry on in the same direction, we're talking 20, 30 years, 10 to 15% of the population will be Muslim. And of course, what we're not doing, we're not singling out all Muslims and saying all Muslims are bad people or anything like that. That's not what we're about. But what we're saying is, if we have more Islam in the UK, purely by a fact of statistics, you're going to have more radical interpretations of Islam. Or, let's be honest, literalist interpretations of Islam, or what we would say a true interpretation of Islam. And that's where the danger comes. Because when people read the Quran and they read incitement to attack unbelievers, they read about how it's okay to basically marry more than one wife and all these sort of things that are totally alien to our culture. This is where we're getting the problems. I mean, remember, the kafir or the unbeliever in Islam, which is what we all are if we're not Muslims, is described as the worst of creatures. That's in the Quran. We're not making that up. That's actually in the Quran. So this needs to be got control of. It needs to be got a grip of. If we don't get a grip of it, we're going to have huge, huge problems. So how do we get a grip of it? First of all, we need to have a political party that supports us. UKIP and the leadership of UKIP are 100% on board with what we believe. We believe exactly the same things. Exactly the same things. There's no diversion between what we believe and what UKIP policy is at the minute under Gerard Batten. So we've got to get behind Gerard Batten. We've got to support Gerard Batten, and we've got to really put our hand to the plough and do the right thing and get behind UKIP 100%. And if we do that, we can achieve our aim. And what our aim is basically to have a stable and peaceful United Kingdom. If we don't get Brexit, we can't get a grip on immigration. If we don't get a grip on immigration, we can't deal with these problems. And the problems absolutely need to be dealt with. But we also need to be, at the same time, we need to be reaching out to the whole country and making people aware of what's going on at governmental level. Because what's happening at governmental level is people are being silenced. I mean, for me to get banned on UKIP, for me to get banned from Facebook for basically stating a fact about Islam that is in the Quran and that is in the Hadith, to be banned from Facebook for just stating what is in the texts of the Islamic scriptures is a very, very worrying development. What you've got is really, I suppose, what you call transnational corporate Sharia law. Basically what's happening is Facebook are acting as a Sharia judge and stopping people speaking against Islam and speaking against Islamic terrorism and Islamic extremism. If you mention any of those things on Facebook, you're very, very likely to get a ban. Now, that is a complete assault on freedom of speech. We've seen it as well with Tommy Robinson. Tommy Robinson was basically put off Twitter for stating facts about grooming gangs and where the grooming gangs came from, and the fact that 84% of grooming gangs are made up of Pakistani Muslims, and he gets a ban for doing that. So these things are very, very worrying and very disturbing. And from the point of view of what we do, we've just got to grasp the bull by the horns, and we've got to get behind UKIP, which is the only party that's got the guts to deal with these issues. The Conservatives aren't going to deal with it. Theresa May say enough's enough, but she doesn't really mean it. The Labour Party are literally in bed with the Muslim Council of Britain and Islamist organisations. That's probably why they've got a big problem with anti-Semitism. So the only party that's actually got the guts to do anything about this is UKIP. And all I want to say this morning is, let's refocus our efforts. We've got a political outlet there. We've got a party leader who gets this, who understands this. We've got a party leadership who understands this. And remember, we've also got backing in the House of Lords. Lord Pearson is the only parliamentarian who's got the guts to stand up and say, can we talk about Islam? And every time he does it, he's jeered at and he's laughed at. So the stakes are really, really high. And I just want to say there's an election coming up. UKIP's the only show in town. Let's get our full force behind UKIP once again. Let's refocus our efforts. Let's think about what we're doing here. We've got a political solution to this. If we don't have a political solution, the other option is absolutely horrendous. So let's just do what we said we're going to do. We made a pledge to the UKIP leadership when they came on board with us that we would do everything we could in our power to support them, to get people to join. So if you haven't joined UKIP, I would suggest let's get behind UKIP and let's join UKIP. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of marches coming up. There's a lot of really interesting stuff coming on that the DFLA are doing. But to me, the main issue at the moment is supporting the only political party that can do anything about this. So join UKIP, vote UKIP on the 3rd of May, and let's get this problem sorted out.